Tennessee Tuesdays.
Episode number 4.
Cuatro, for anyone keeping track in Spanish.
On a good roll.
We had a fun time. We had a fun time at Tequila and Tacos.
Tacos and tequila.
I thought it was Tequila and Tacos.
I don't know.
I think the main part is tequila, so I think that's why it came first. Tacos and tequila comes off the tongue a little bit better.
Yes, it definitely does.
I don't know.
Tequila and tacos does not roll off your
I don't know.
tongue.
Either way, it was fun. Sampled some great tequilas. Also some weird tequilas.
Ate some good tacos. That's about it.
Tacos were fantastic. We saw so many smiling faces up there, that came up. It was very exciting. We had a few that were actually listeners of the podcast that didn't know about the event until we had mentioned it.
Last Tuesday.
Which is awesome because that's the whole reason we're doing this. And even if we get this across to one person that hears something that they didn't hear, even better.
Great.
But even bigger news, Babs finished 75 hard.
On Friday
of tacos and tequila and tacos.
So I did not drink any tequila, but I did eat plenty of tacos. And all the tacos were really amazing.
So Saturday, there was another tequila crawl in Knoxville, but we didn't go to it. I really wanted to go. That one sounded fun, but
we went to Big Kahuna Wings.
Yep, we went to Big Kahuna Wings. She celebrated, got her fries and her drink.
Ate some fries.
But more importantly, we can finally add tequila to this podcast. And we're starting off with one of my favorites, George Strait. So, the Código. Now, this is a fantastic tequila. There are all sorts. You got Anejos, Reposados. This is a Rosa, a Blanco. So these are actually barreled. They rest for a month. They're in white oak barrels, I believe, in Napa, and they sit. Really cool at the Tequila Festival. We learned. Now I've heard of. I always feel like I'm saying it weird. Mezcal, which is tequila, is a type of mezcal, and basically the difference is tequila is only made with blue agave. The mezcal can be made with any of the 50 plus types of agave. Tequila is made in the copper pots. This mezcal is in a stone pit. It's like lava rock, he was saying.
It's a long process, I think.
It was a pretty educational thing. We were talking to this one guy. It does come off, mezcal does come off a little smokier and can have a higher content, alcohol. But I think we're sticking with tequilas. But they do make a mezcal. That's why I was bringing it up. Código does make one. But this is the Rosa. I left yours in the freezer. I was chilling Babs.
And you probably hear our screaming goats again. Actually, not ours. The neighbors.
Hopefully they're not as bad as last time. That goat did get its head stuck in the fence, and that's why it was screaming. It gets its
head stuck all the time.
So this is Código, the Rosa Blanco. This is one of my favorites, so that's why we're kicking off with this.
I don't know if I've had this one.
I don't think you've had any Código, because it is, I mean, it's not new. It's been around, but it's newer to us, I think, because I haven't seen it in Tennessee until recently, but now it's here. And this will be my favorite part is Babs. We'll keep track of her face every time she takes a shot. It'll be a perfect compilation. Babs loves tequila, but it's just, a shot.
I haven't drank it I haven't drank any alcohol in probably way over 75 days.
So that's why this podcast could be kind of fun, just with this going. So cheers. Cheers to that.
It was pretty smooth.
Smooth?
But I do need to drink water.
Yeah, she does. So, like I said, none of these are sponsored. This is just us purchasing our own tequila that we like. We're going to try some new ones actually too that we've never tried.
There is another one we like that is, I think, a barreled one, but I don't know the name of it.
So that's kind of become the big thing with tequila too, is them barreling tequilas.
What's the name of the barreled one we buy at the...
There's a handful because there's some local ones which are pretty cool, like El Mayor, I think.
Yeah, that's a local one.
That's a local one that is. That's a fantastic one. We'll purchase that one and sample that one, but there's a bunch. And like I said, we're buying all these. This is not sponsored, so it's fun because we're gonna give you our honest opinion.
I thought about buying sample bottles, but by the time you buy a sample bottle of good tequila, it's like $5. So that's $10 right there. You might as well just buy the bottle.
And I mean, if you're gonna buy good tequila, it's gonna cost money. It's like any other, whiskey or anything like that. You're gonna spend a little bit of money if you want a decent one. We're never gonna have Jose Cuervo on this channel. I can promise you that.
No.
Jose Cuervo or anything made by Jose Cuervo will not appear on this.
If it's in a plastic bottle, we probably shouldn't drink it.
Yeah, probably not. But
you'll probably have a hangover.
So you like that one? That was okay?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, it's not as good as that $50 shot that I had that one time.
See, she's a bougie. She's a bougie at tequila. So,
but
I thought this would be fun with today being voting day in Tennessee, at least for our local stuff. I thought we would bring this up. Babs doesn't know about these, but these are wild Tennessee laws.
Oh no, there's probably some goofy ones in here.
Now, one of the laws is your dog's not allowed to bark while you're doing a podcast, so that law was already broken.
Well, Macy definitely broke that. Is there a law about like your goat cannot cry while you're doing a podcast? Because I mean, that would be pretty perfect.
Probably not, but I thought this would be fun, just to go over these silly laws. Like these are ones that were on, those pages where they write an article, and I did Google a couple of these just to see if they are legit, and there is some more background to them, but just reading them as it is, it's kind of fun. So
they just make you read more and more of the goofy laws in every state.
All right. So our first one. Selling hollow logs. Makes sense, right?
So you can't sell a log that's hollowed in the middle?
Yeah. Kind of makes sense, huh? It's not too wild or crazy.
No, I think
it makes sense to me, right?
Because if you sell a log, most people use it to make 2x4s.
Yeah. So in Tennessee, it is completely illegal to buy or sell hollow logs. This law was originally created to prevent harassment of innocent clients after several log sellers were allegedly manipulating and threatening community members into buying their product.
I could see that.
So
the logging industry's big.
So
they
maybe
make good money.
Maybe they had a hollowed log and the ends were somehow covered up. So
it didn't look hollow all the way through.
Yeah. Kind of fooled them. So maybe that was the manipulation part of it.
And then when they went to use their sawmill to make some 2x4, they're like, well, guess can't make a 2x4 out of this log.
That's not going to work. So that one's not too crazy,
I think
right?
that's a good law because there's a lot of sawmills and local people that do cut down trees.
Yep.
And they make pretty good money off trees.
Yep. So they could be scamming people out of something they might be doing 2x4s or something like you said, especially with lumber prices the way it is now.
I could see them scamming people nowadays.
All right, our next Tennessee law. Transporting skunks across state line.
Why would anyone want to transport skunks anyways?
In efforts to prevent the spread of rabies statewide, the Tennessee legislature enacted Code 70-4-208, which completely forbids the importation and sale of live skunks. Anyone who fails to follow this law will face a Class C misdemeanor.
That would just be a very stinky mess.
So it does say live skunks. I wonder why. I mean, would you want to transport dead? I
mean, what use would a dead skunk be?
People eat
but
them?
What use is a skunk in general?
And if you don't know, if you're not from Tennessee, if you ever hear the phrase polecat,
it is a skunk.
that's a skunk. That's someone's referring to a skunk.
Not something else. Trust me, we thought the same thing.
So yeah, don't take any skunks across state line, in case you were wondering.
I just wouldn't want to capture a skunk anyways, because how are you going to release it without getting sprayed? And if you have a crate full of skunks, that's been one of
our fears, right? So we have
spot.
a trap that we set sometimes around the chicken coop when we see a lot of activity around.
To catch raccoons.
Usually it's raccoons.
Or possums.
And then we'll kind of put them somewhere else. But if a skunk ever went in there, there's a whole process where you cover it with a blanket. You're supposed to gently carry it. Some people dunk it in water, so you rid the skunk. I don't know what I would do. I would freak out if I caught a skunk.
And you definitely don't want to shoot it because I'm pretty sure
you hit the scent gland or something.
It's just going to stink anyways. Have you ever drove past a dead skunk on the road? Because, I mean, it smells for weeks.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with it at all.
No.
So no transporting.
I'm good.
All right, I think we're good then. All right, so if you've participated in a duel, you cannot take public office.
A duel as in...
If you wish to duel in the state of Tennessee, which itself is illegal, don't plan to take office after that. In 2014, this law of the Tennessee Constitution forbids duelists from running for political office of any kind, and participants will face punishment just as any other citizen would.
So is dueling like a big thing?
I don't know. If someone challenged me to a duel, I don't know what I would say. No, thank you. Like rock, paper, scissors. Like
Rochambeau.
Like, what are we doing? Are we like fencing, or are we actually like pacing out with a firearm and old school?
Definitely, I'd probably say no on that one.
Yeah. So, just in case you were wondering, don't duel if you want to take public office.
So,
see, laws, public office. This is all tying into voting.
I mean, how would anyone know that unless they Googled ridiculous laws in Tennessee? Because most people wouldn't know you couldn't duel and then take public office.
That's why Tennessee stands exist, though. They bring this kind of stuff to the forefront when a bill is being presented that we don't know about.
It's kind of useless knowledge at the same time.
Well, how about this one? You can't use a lasso to catch a fish. Many Tennessee residents enjoy fishing in the state's rivers and lakes. This is totally legal with proper permits. However, you will have to leave your fishing lasso behind. Tennessee Code 70-4-104 forbids the use of all fishing equipment except for rod, reel, and hook.
I don't know how easy it would be to lasso a fish anyways. I mean, fish are pretty deep most of the time.
So this is one of those things like...
This is a ridiculous one.
Like, you know when you read a label on something and you're like, yeah, duh, that's kind of obvious? They had to put the label on there for a reason, right?
I'm assuming someone tried this.
So somebody tried lassoing a fish or was successful in lassoing fish, and there was a problem with it.
I think, using a normal fishing rod with like a lure or a hook and some bait, that is pretty easy. I'm not going to try to lasso a fish.
Got any cowboys out there? Slow your roll when it comes to fishing, okay?
Or if anyone has ever lassoed a fish, could you let us know?
I would love to talk to someone that's lassoed a fish, please.
I'm kind of interested in it.
I would love to hear that story. Like, what intrigued you to even lasso the fish?
I mean, I know people noodle for fish. Like, that's a big thing, but...
Right, but...
That's still kind of weird.
But at least it makes sense. Like, you can actually do it. Like, a lasso... Like, lasso... I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, so there's one...
Good luck.
There's a wild law. So the skunks and that are kind of up there.
They're a little up there.
Roadkill Consumption. Now, this one isn't really wild. I mean, we knew about this one, right? So if you find roadkill appetizing, Tennessee is a perfect state for you. The 1999 bill, now Tennessee Code 70-4-115, was passed by Tim Burchett, local representative, and allows for the legal gathering and consumption of an animal that has been run over by a vehicle. Use and consumption is restricted to animals that are non-game and are not federally protected wildlife species.
I mean, I think that's common out here because there are people that will go around and collect roadkill. Like the neighbor guy, he'll eat raccoons. I mean, I don't know how tasty they could be. But like a deer, if I hit a deer, I mean... One man's roadkill is another man's meal. I would want to take the deer meat home.
Well, interesting. It says forbids the use, or it says restricted to animals that are non-game.
So you cannot take a deer home if you hit it. So
deer, turkey, elk.
So none of those you can bring home.
Bear.
We
saw a bear hit on the highway once.
That we did. That was in Virginia. It was a really big bear.
I couldn't imagine hitting a bear. Let alone, I mean, you hit a deer, like we see cars totaled all over the place, but a bear? That's something else.
Even hitting an elk, you're probably going to have no front end of your car left.
Oh, totally. All right, so roadkill consumption, we kind of knew about that one.
That's, I think, common in states out here this way.
Next one is stealing a horse. Don't even try it. If you were thinking about stealing your neighbor's horse in the near future, think again. Stealing a horse is still punishable by the death penalty.
Oh.
That's a little extreme.
That's a bit much. I didn't know I was going to get the death penalty for stealing my neighbor's horse.
Wow. That's interesting. Of course, stealing a horse is still wrong, but it is no means as bad as it was when this law was first enacted. and horses were basically a person's livelihood. So
I
when
get
this,
that.
it doesn't say when this was put into place, but yeah, back in the day, I mean, obviously if you're running horses and you're using them for transportation, you're also using them as livestock and selling them. And
But nowadays, I don't feel like it would be easy just to steal your neighbor's horse. Maybe back in the day, it probably was easy to steal your neighbor's horse.
well, and that's probably why they put it into place. I mean, I wouldn't be taking John Dutton's horses.
No, because he'd probably shoot you.
I'd have to deal with Rip, Casey, Beth. Like, you won't want to deal with them,
No.
right? So I wouldn't steal
I mean,
someone's horse.
you got to have a very good plan of action how you're going to steal your neighbor's horse.
Well,
Because I don't imagine it just being a walk in the park to steal your neighbor's horse.
well, good thing, because don't steal a neighbor's horse, because it's the death penalty.
No one wants to die today.
Nope. Panhandling licenses are required in Memphis.
Oh, so I could go get a license and I could stand on the corner in Memphis and make money?
In order to beg for money or food in Memphis, individuals must first acquire a panhandling license. This 1994 law was originally created with the intention of helping to reduce panhandling violence and crimes in the downtown Memphis area. The license, which originally cost $10, is now available to those who place a request. Memphis law enforcement continues to ask for verification of licensure in the modern day.
I imagine no homeless person has a panhandling license. Just going to throw it out
Well,
there.
in Memphis you do. Maybe this
So
is...
is it free nowadays? Because, I mean, most homeless people are probably not going to give up their $10 to get a panhandling license.
I don't know. Maybe
Just
this
gonna
is
say.
video worthy. Maybe we should go like to Memphis and, you know.
I mean, I think that would be a wise law in LA because there's way too many panhandlers out there. And it'd probably cut down on a majority of them if they had to pay for a license. They wouldn't be able to panhandle.
I wonder if you have to display it at all times,
So you just wear it on your chest.
like a fishing license or something. Like it has to be displayed, or
Yeah.
so. Yeah, interesting. You have to have a license.
I mean,
$10. What can you turn $10 into?
yeah. I mean, you could turn $10 into $200.
You could flip that pretty quick, probably.
Probably make your $10 back in maybe a hot hour.
So your next one, fortune-telling advertisements. So Miss Cleo, is Miss Cleo still around?
I don't know.
I don't
Wasn't
stay
that,
up. I don't
like,
stay
I
up
don't
and
stay
watch
up that
TV
late.
that late. In Knoxville specifically, fortune-telling advertisements are strictly prohibited within city lines. This law in Section 19-186 of Knoxville Citations, and perpetrators can face a fine of $144.50.
So why?
So that's why you don't see Miss Cleo. Well, if you're in Knoxville, you wouldn't.
Knoxville.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people really believe in fortune tellers, anyways? I
don't
mean,
know.
You could
Babs.
pay me, and I could tell you your fortune, and it's probably not even going to be accurate, but you're going to believe it anyways.
Babs, you're gonna offend some people. There's probably some people
mean-
that dig fortune telling.
I'm not 100% sure that I think it's a real thing. I think it's a scam, to be honest with you. But that's my opinion.
Well, that's why you're not seeing any advertisements.
That's good.
All right, these next two, I don't know what is up with this town. Now, this is Oneida, right?
Where's Oneida?
It's a little bit north of us. So, Oneida. Some people say Oneida, Oneida. If you listen to, what's the YouTube channel, Southern Sayings? It's a southern. It's a southern thing, and they pronounce like towns and cities in the South. It's hilarious
I don't
because
know.
some of these towns are just a tongue twist, and we always get beat up on the YouTube channel whenever we do vlogs. Like, oh, you didn't pronounce this correct, and we're learning, okay?
But it's also the
learning
way
thing.
it rolls off your tongue. Like, people say Marville.
And now I just say Marvel.
Marvel.
You just say Marvel, and you sound.
The way it sounds to you, or it's spelled on a piece of paper, Maryville.
That's how it is, but
It is not
Marvel.
the other way. But people give you all kinds of...
it's Marvel. So anyways, in Oneida, it is technically considered illegal for a woman to call a man and ask him on a date. Bad news for all the single ladies out there. Does anyone call anymore and ask anyone on a date anyways?
No, they probably use Tinder, swipe right, swipe left. They probably just text. I mean, or Snapchat.
So I wonder if that applies to texting too.
So you can't text a guy?
Yeah, if you can't call, but you can text maybe?
I mean, how is anyone going to know that I called you and said, hey, Matt, you want to go on a date with me tonight?
I don't know. If a guy turns you in, that's pretty lame.
That's pretty bad on the guy.
Yeah, I don't think any guys turning in a lady that calls.
I mean, they're kind of stupid if they do, I guess.
Also in Oneida, the song "It Ain't Going to Rain No Mo" is actually outlawed. Don't hum that tune too loud if you make it through there. I don't know what that song is.
I've never heard that song. But that's weird that a town outlaws a song.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of...
And I would plug it here and play it, but we would get copyrighted, so I'm not going to do it. But Google that song, and y'all can listen to it. Just not in Oneida.
I mean, seems like a pretty lame law.
Let's see. Shooting outside your car window. That's very, very illegal. In most states,
I was gonna say,
you cannot shoot from the road from your car,
sure
right?
That is...
The only animal it is legal to shoot out of your car window is a whale.
Oh, yeah, because we just have whales all over Tennessee.
This is on the internet, okay? So it's true.
I mean, the last time I drove down 321, I saw a blue whale. I probably should have shot it.
Well, you can, if you want to. Don't give me that look. This is on the internet, so it's true, okay?
No, I don't think everything you find on the internet is true, because I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a whale in Tennessee. Well, I mean...
You just don't get out often.
Yeah.
Think of moving in with your girlfriends? You can, but not too many of them. If 8 or more women are living together in a Tennessee house, it is considered a brothel, and that is illegal.
So if you had like a really big house and with 8 rooms, you couldn't have 8 women living in there?
Nope. I don't know if it balances out. Like if you had a guy in there, then you're good.
So you have 7 women and 1 guy.
We could be good as long as there's not
a brothel.
8 or more. You'd be all right.
So what if you have 8 women and 1 guy? Is that considered a brothel?
That's a lucky guy because he's in a brothel then.
I mean, are brothels still a thing?
Sure, yeah. I think there's a big one in like Nevada and stuff, like there, or Montana. Like I've heard of a couple big ones.
I know Nevada. I know Vegas. Outside of Vegas had one for a while, but I didn't know they still had it.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's good
this
knowledge.
One's kind of like a...
So wait, hold on. So a sorority has more than 8 women living in a house. Is that considered a brothel?
No, because it's a official college thing.
But why not?
I mean, they could run one out of there. And
exactly, and no one would ever know. So maybe sororities are running brothels.
I don't know why. Every time I hear sorority or like any issues with like sorority or fraternity, I just go to old school. I don't know why. Old school always pops into my head. So it's such a great movie. This one's kind of like, no duh. It's a misdemeanor to tattoo a minor in Tennessee.
I mean, I feel like that's probably a misdemeanor in most states.
Maybe not. I mean maybe it's not.
I think most states you have to have parent consent to tattoo a minor anyways.
Because, I mean, right along with that, there was, don't buy alcohol for a minor, which is kind of obvious, right? I don't think you could do that
in any state.
Any state. I mean, but maybe there is one wild state that it's possible. So this one was interesting. I had to look up this one a little bit more. So back in 2012, holding hands is considered a gateway to sexual activity. So it's considered illegal on school grounds.
I'm pretty sure kids in school have been holding hands since, like, our parents were in, like, elementary school. Like, since the Stone Age, probably.
It was there for warning students that hand-holding is a gateway to sexual activity.
So, you cannot do that still to this day?
I could not find anything on it still to this day.
I feel like we should ask Taylor if kids hold hands at school. Because I feel like this is probably a pretty common thing, like high school kids do.
But the way things are going nowadays too, like I could still see this being enforced.
Maybe.
You know?
But I also think it's kind of random.
Because once you start holding hands, then it leads to the next thing, then first base, second base, third base.
I mean, come on.
Home run, grand slam. You're hitting jacks. I mean, you know, and it all starts with holding hands.
I think holding hands is a very minor thing for kids.
I mean, it could have been George Strait, check yes or no. It could have started there. Then it went to holding hands. So checking yes or no could have been a gateway to the sexual activity as well. Tequila is. A lot of times.
Makes your clothes come off.
It does. There's a lot of song references in here. We're doing good. Now this one, I mean, I feel like this, again, applies to a lot of, almost every state, right? Sharing your Netflix password is a tried and true illegal activity in the volunteer state.
I mean, I feel like that's illegal all across the United States, but people do it every day.
I'm pretty sure Netflix like states that, like, don't share.
They do state that, but people still do. I mean, how many people do you know that share their Netflix password with the rest of their family?
So a figure came out the other day that 100 million households were sharing passwords illegally. So you can only have like 5 accounts on there, but there were multiple ones. And I know like the girl, like we don't have Netflix because we don't watch TV. We don't watch any of that stuff. But the girls have like a little account set up on her sister's because her sister has Netflix. But I mean, I don't know. It's not beyond the 5 accounts. So it's not like they're setting up separate ones. I don't know how that works.
I think there's like 4 accounts set up on hers. Hers, Tessa's, and then Mackenzie and Taylor's.
So I don't know where that is, but I feel like Netflix, that would be illegal across the board.
But I mean, if I'm paying it for Netflix, I feel like I should be able to use it however I want.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't matter who uses it because you're still paying for it.
Well, do you remember when like you used to get a like VHS tape and the FBI thing popped up in the beginning?
Yeah.
And it said, "Do not copy this, or you will be federally like charged."
Yeah, because I mean, everyone probably copied VHS tapes.
That was pretty scary though. Like legit, the FBI gave a warning before any video was played. Like,
but I also feel like most kids or people recorded them onto another tape.
Well, then we slid into Napster, LimeWire. Like that's where we're at. That's our generation. Like we were the end of Blockbuster days, Hollywood Video.
I mean, so that would be like we're getting a blank tape and recording your favorite song off the radio and making like my summer hit song. What if the radio said, "Don't record the song that's being played"?
But that's kind of crazy now because, I mean, you think about it, you could just screen record anything.
Yeah.
Your iPhone, you just screen record. On your computer, you could screen record. You could do any of that stuff. And I mean, you remember when we used to go like downtown LA to the alleys and they had the bootleg DVDs?
Oh, yeah.
And you'd get it, and literally it was like someone with a video camera in the movie theater filming, or it was like
terrible quality.
Or it was in Spanish or, you know, like some other language. It was... I mean, I think we still have some of those.
I'm pretty sure. I think we bought a handful of movies for the kids to watch at one point.
And like instead of saying like Scarface, it was Scarf Face or something.
Because they were like $2 and you could buy like a Disney movie. So you just did it anyways.
But it was like, it was a Disney movie with a princess in Spanish or something.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, the quality and the shakiness of the guy.
And people laughing in the theater.
Was terrible.
Yeah.
But...
All right, your last law, which, I mean, this kind of goes hand in hand. You cannot drive in Tennessee while you're asleep. Do you know that?
I feel like that would be a law in every state.
Now, you read through, because I was like, hey, we're going to do some of these, like, wild law things, and she, like, Googled it, and, like, random states came up. Now, one of them was, like, you can't drive blindfolded or something you saw in some state. Yeah, you
can't drive blindfolded. I don't remember what state it was, but it was pathetic.
So, yeah, you can't drive asleep. Now, I wonder how that applies to Tesla with the auto drive. Because you see people that are sleeping while the car is in like autopilot. Now I get you have to touch the wheel and keep that going, but you see people that are asleep. So obviously that's a bad thing. Like I don't want anyone sleeping and driving.
I mean, people fall asleep at their wheel and crash anyway, so.
They do. Especially like when they're delivering things.
Yeah, it's a common thing.
It's an inside joke for Babs. She has some
And
experience with that lately.
Pretty sure here comes one of our children.
So, anyways, but those are some of the laws that you kind of find just wild in Tennessee. I'm sure they apply to other states as well. There's wild laws, but those were our top ones in Tennessee.
I mean, no one should ever drive while they're sleeping.
So don't drive while you're sleeping to go lasso fish. And don't sing in Oneida.
Anything.
So that is it for this episode. Glad we finally got to have some tequila on this one. The Código, like I said, it's good. So we're going to be sampling some different ones. This was the first one. Babs, I hope you had fun.
I did, and learned a lot of useless knowledge on some laws that are kind of out there.
Yeah. So that is it. Enjoy your Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Have a good night.
We'll see you next week.